Hello, artists. It's Kelly Folsom here, and I want to welcome you back to another Art Life Conversations podcast where we have conversations about all things related to art life. Thank you so much to all of you who are enjoying this podcast, who are sending me emails, thanking me for the podcast, leaving comments on Facebook, and all that good stuff. And remember, you can always send me topics that you would like me to consider discussing. Email those in to me at info@artlifewithkelly, KELLI.com, and put in the subject line podcast idea. Okay, let's keep these conversations going, and of course, reach out to me anytime with anything that you would like me to discuss. Okay, today I am talking about a topic that is very important to me, very near and dear to my heart, as all these topics are. And that is, I want you all to get yourself in front of real art, my friends. Get out, get in front of the real art, see it in real life. Imagine that. Get up off the couch, put your clothes on, drive to an art museum, hop on a plane, fly somewhere, go see some art. I know, especially in America, not every city has an art museum. I live here in Denver, and I'm really actually not that crazy about the art museum here in Denver, but we do have one. And we also have another location here where we can see art in person. And then, of course, there's galleries, and there's all kinds of contemporary artists that live here as well that have their studios available for visits, all that good stuff. But all throughout the country, every state has art museums available. And so I just want to encourage all of you to go to the real art, go see it in real life, in person, because there is no substitute for this, my friends. As artists, it's so important that we stay inspired, that we fill up our, as I've talked about before, our art vocabulary database, so to speak, our bank of visual imagery. And just that we go and we study these paintings in real life, we contemplate them, we try to understand what it is that they were doing, and just soak it in and just take it in from any kind of art in any century. Whatever moves you and inspires you, go get up and see it. Please, I'm begging you. Especially right now, since we've been dealing with COVID for, almost 2 years now. Well, I guess it's about 18 months. And so I know for a long time we weren't really able to do that. And now I know most people are getting vaccinated and, of course, able to wear a mask and, able to travel and go see some real art. So even if you cannot or don't want to hop on a plane and fly across the country like I just did last weekend, then get in the car, go to an art museum, or find somewhere, a gallery, somewhere where you can see some art in person. There's just no substitute for it. So Monty and I just got back from New York City recently. This is the first art trip we've been able to take since COVID. And so we flew to New York City to go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. We also visited the Frick Museum there as well. And we just went every single day and just soaked in all of the art from like morning till night. And we were so exhausted, from being on our feet every day and, dealing with the crowds and all the walking, of course, that's in New York City. But it was so invigorating and so worth it. And there's just really nothing like seeing a real painting in real life. Listen, I love all of this modern technology that we have at our disposal. The computers, digital imagery, even print, the art books. As you can see, I even have a whole stack right here. in my studio of art books. I have so many art books and I love them so dearly. And in a pinch, they will definitely bring a lot of inspiration to me. But I'm telling you, every single time I go and see some real good art in real life, in real person, there is something so different about that. You know, you can get up close on the paintings. You can sit there and look at them for so long. In real life, there's no time limit, you know. So there's just nothing like it. You can see all of the brush strokes. You can see all the layers. You can see the real colors. It's so hard to get, you know, colors to read properly in photograph. I know one painting I just saw at the Met, and darn it, I forgot to get my own photo of it while I was there. I don't know what I was thinking. But the man's name, what was his name? Carlisle, I can't remember his name, but it was a still life with apple blossoms. And it was a huge still life. It was like, you know, 5 feet tall, 5 or 6 feet tall. And that's pretty darn big for a still life, because usually still lifes are, you know, smaller than that. But I was so impressed by this painting from across the room. The boldness of the design just drew me to this painting like a magnet. And then once I got up there, just really seeing all of the beautiful colors, all the brushwork, you know, all of the details, even seeing these artists' signatures on their painting is so inspiring to me. Because I think it just reminds me that, oh my gosh, you know, this artist was alive and, you know, centuries ago and was making this amazing artwork, and look how beautiful it is. And for some reason, for me, it really connects me to that artist, seeing their work in real life, in person, and, you know, seeing their signature on the painting. And I just think about, well, you know, when did he come up with this idea? When did this inspiration strike him to paint this still life, which was kind of a crazy, bold still life. So it just really gets me connected to that artist whenever I see the work in person. And I know I've heard that too from a lot of collectors who have bought my work. And it's kind of a shame sometimes that so much of how we're seeing art now is, you know, in small little images on Facebook and Instagram, on the websites, you know, and we're all doing the best we can with that. And it's definitely, there's so many pros to that. There's so many benefits to that. But one of the major downsides of this sort of digital versions of art is there's a lot that's getting lost in that digital representation. So one thing, for example, of course, is scale. You know, whenever I saw this painting in person at the Met, the first thing that struck me was, this painting is huge for a still life, and it got me all inspired, like, oh, I want to go home and paint like a huge still life now too, you know, like how great is that? So bold, so beautiful. And if I were to have just seen a photograph of the still life, or maybe seen it in a book, then, you know, I wouldn't have had that same connection or that same response to it. I wouldn't have really understood what that painting was like in reality, in real life. So that's one of the things that gets lost often, of course, is a scale. And I know sometimes we can see, you know, people standing next to a photo of their art, or have something next to the artwork in the image to give a sense of scale. And I'm all for doing things like that, because I think anything that brings it closer to more of a real experience is beneficial. But seeing it in person, there's just no substitute. So one thing that tends to get lost, of course, is the scale of the work. The other thing, especially with oil painting, is just the depth, you know, the detail and the depth. We've got amazing cameras now. Even our little iPhone computers that we're walking around with in our pockets every day have amazing cameras. But these cameras are not human eyes. So they don't perceive things in the same way that our human eyes do. And so, for example, whenever we were at the Frick and went to the Frick, and we were in the Rembrandt room, and just, oh my gosh, it was so magnetic. It was so amazing, this painting, all of the paintings, but there was one in particular, a portrait of I think this was a commission painting, and I can't think of the name of the painting, but it's a gentleman in a fur hat, and he's holding like a piece of paper, like he's about to hand it to somebody. You guys, this painting was so mind-blowing, so mind-blowing. Every piece of this painting was so gorgeous. And to be able to study it in person, you could also see, in a way, his process of the ground, what he toned the painting with, and the effects of cool on warm that he was doing, and the layering effects that he was getting with his paint. The impasto and the paint quality, how that creates a certain, appearance, which a lot of times, tends to fall very, very flat in a photograph. So again, just seeing these works of art in person, you can learn so much as an artist from studying them in person, really contemplating them. And of course, Monty and I, like to take notes, and then we share whenever we take breaks. We'll have these discussions with one another about the art and what we saw and what we discovered, and new ideas that we have now after studying this art in person. And it's interesting too, because I have loved going to art museums ever since I entered art school back in 2007. One of my favorite things to do, of course, is to travel and visit art in the art museums. And I'm fortunate that my partner is also very much in line with that, because we both love doing that. And it's so fascinating to me, because every single time that I go, I leave just with so much fuel in my artistic gas tank, so many new thoughts, so many new ideas. It's as if the artist they're long gone, right? Like they're dead, they're gone. But it's like their work is still speaking to us. Their work is still here to teach us and to touch us and to open our eyes to a new way of seeing the world. It was really fascinating after being in New York City for a few days. I think we were there for about 4 or 5 days. And coming back home to Denver, Colorado, and we get through all the airport madness, get back in the car, and we're driving, back home. And I felt like someone had implanted a new set of eyeballs up here in my head, because everything seemed brand new. I don't want to start crying, but everything seemed so different than before. The trees looked more beautiful. The sky was more beautiful. The light was more beautiful. Coming into our home, it was like I had this level of appreciation for beauty that had been re-stirred up and rekindled. And I know it's because of looking at all of that art for, 3-4 days. So it's really an incredible thing, if you're an artist, what we are doing is so incredible. I think, doing our own work, it doesn't affect us in the same way, but you have to know that the work that you are creating is affecting your audience in that way. It's affecting people who see your work. It's affecting your collectors in that way. That's what you're doing for them. It's like you are giving them a new perspective on life. You are giving them a new appreciation of the world around us, of the beauty around us. That's what you're doing for them. The very same thing that all of those great masters at the Met did for me this last weekend. That's my gift as well to all of the collectors who buy my work or anyone who is able to see my work in person. That's my gift to them as well. And so I think it's really, really important to recognize that we are a part of that lineage, that we are a part of that legacy. And so today, I just want to, I'd love to hear your experiences of too with, your experiences with viewing art, how it affects you, how it inspires you. And most importantly, I want to encourage all of you to go do that for yourself. Sometimes I think we just can get so settled into our own little environments and our own little worlds and our own little four walls, and it's like we just get like these little horse blinders on, and we forget that there's so much beauty available to us. There's so much beautiful art available to us. And as artists, we need that. We need other people's art as well to inspire us. So that's really what I want to leave you all with today, is because this recent trip, and I'm sure it was even more impactful for me because I haven't been able to go and see any real art in person for 18 months or more now. So I'm sure it was even more of an impact because of the time, the lapse of time that has occurred where I haven't been able to see this beautiful, masterful old master art for forever. But because that made such a big impact on me, I just want to encourage all of you to give that gift to yourself. It really does matter. It really does make a big difference. And you will come back feeling so much more inspired and having, soaked in all of the learnings from studying the artwork as well at the museums. And then you'll be able to put that into your own work in your own studio so that lineage and that legacy gets passed on to the next collector who buys a piece from you. Okay, my art friends, I am wishing you all happy fall. Hope you all are well, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on studying real art in real life. All right, until next time, I'm wishing you all happy painting. Bye.